Hello everybody and welcome to a special episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today is the first episode of my miniature memoirs where I take a look at every ship of one type I own in order of release date. Now this video is dedicated to the late Glenn Webb, who was one of my favorite all-time YouTubers. He excelled at reviewing Marvel Legends, doing customs, and of course one of my favorite series of all time, Action Figure Evolution, where he goes over every single action figure of one character. It is awesome. My favorite episode of that being Venom. So I will put a link to his YouTube channel in the description below. Sadly, he passed away, but what he left behind was a treasure trove of great videos, so I suggest checking them out. So I was really inspired seeing his action figure evolution videos and decided maybe I could make my own dealing with starships. But also, to all those who watch my channel and ask for comparisons of different toy makers, this is for you. So today I will be looking at the A-Wing Starfighter, first seen in Return of the Jedi during the Battle of Endor. This ship quickly became a huge fan favorite, popping up in comics, models, video games, novels, television shows, and of course, toys. Now, in the past 24 years of me collecting, there has been 3 different types of A-Wings and 14 plus miniatures released for the most part. So we have much to look at, so let's get started. It all began for me in 1994 with the release of the Micro Machines Star Wars collection. This little miniature measuring a tad over 1.5 inches featured some nice details, a good paint job, and a clear stand. Micro Machines would become the major player for Star Wars miniature ships in the 90s. As we will soon see, they made some excellent ships. The next A-Wing came in 1995 with Micro Machines X-Ray Fleet Collection. This lightweight, little over 2 3/4 inch long vessel featured a clear plastic body exposing critical systems and pilot. The model also featured light paint on the outer shell. I will admit I had these when I was a kid and loved them. Now these ships also came with nice stands that will come into play in the future with Galoob's diecast line and Hasbro's titanium line. And take a good look at this mold because it will pop up again. Again in 1995, Micro Machines began to release their super successful Action Fleet line, giving us this 5-inch A-Wing complete with beautiful details, decent paint, and incorporated moving parts such as an opening canopy, folding landing gear, and rotating laser cannons. This line was also pretty innovative for the time, giving us also pilots that actually fit in the ship itself. Every ship also came with a beautiful stand. Sadly, when I got this ship off eBay, the stand didn't come with it. But the stand looks like a bigger version of the titanium stands with an added slot to fit the pilots. As a kid, I was a huge fan of this line, and today, many still are, and I can't blame them. Then in 1996, we got the battle-damaged A-Wing released by Micro Machines, measuring in at a little over 1.5 inches long. This ship featured a smaller mold with added detailing showing off damaged sections. It also had a nice paint job and came with a translucent stand. Now, Galoob also made a die-cast version of the A-Wing, but since it is the same mold as the titanium version, I figured I would use it for that. This would be the last miniature A-Wing I would see for many years. And in the late 90s, Hasbro took over for Galoob, giving birth to a new era. Jumping ahead to 2004/5, Hasbro introduced its Star Wars Titanium line of die-cast ships. This line ran for a couple of years, ended in 2009, offering various amounts of ships, from all films, games, and the Clone Wars TV show. This series is my personal favorite, featuring amazing detail, vast paint apps, and usually moving parts such as foldable landing gear and opening cockpits, seen on this ship. And in the set we had many A-Wings, with its mold taken from the diecast Micro Machines line. This particular miniature features the blue color scheme instead of the maroon. For its length, it measures in at 2 3/4 inches long, and comes with a stand. In 2005, Hasbro made a line of miniature ships under the banner of Micro Vehicles. At first, I was excited to pick these up, but when I opened the package, I was shocked to find out it's the X-Ray Fleet mold from 1995 that was painted. It even fits on the X-Ray stand, which is good since these sets don't come with any stands for display. The ships did, however, come with 2 vehicles per pack with 2 minifigures. So at least it did have some playability. Moving on to 2006, Wizards of the Coast made a game featuring Star Wars miniatures called Starship Battles. Their A-Wing measures in at 1 inch long and has a darker color scheme than the past versions we looked at. Besides the paint, it did feature a very nice mold for the size. Jumping again to 2012, Fantasy Flight Games introduced their Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures tabletop game, which featured highly detailed, highly painted, in-scale miniatures that are used to dogfight on a 3-foot by 3-foot mat. In time, many expansions were made, such as the 2013 A-Wing expansion. This model may be under 1 1/2 inches, but it is debatably one of the best miniatures I have ever seen, with recesses, open engine section, and too many details to count. This game is very popular and still is played to this day. In 2015, Fantasy Flight Games again made another tabletop miniatures game, this time focusing on the capital ships called Star Wars Armada. Now, even though the game does focus on bigger ships like Imperial Star Destroyers or Mon Calamari cruisers, there is an aspect of the game that deals with squadrons. One such expansion pack offers additional Rebellion squadrons featuring these tiny A-Wings. Even though they are smaller than an inch and have no paint, they still have enough detail so you know what they are. Many people actually paint theirs, and they look amazing. I recommend looking up some of the custom paint jobs for Armada squadrons. You might be impressed. Also in 2015, Hasbro resurrected the Titanium line under the Star Wars Black Series banner, giving us a brand new A-Wing. This 2 3/4 inch vessel featured an original mold, rotating cannons, opening cockpit, unfolding landing gear, and a fine paint job. It also came with a nice stand, which is different than past versions, but it's okay nonetheless. 2015 was a busy year for Hasbro with the release of Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens. Besides the rebirth of the Titanium line, they also brought back the Micro Machines. Honestly, I was very excited when I heard the news, but I do have to say, even though they have great molds, the quality of plastic is not what it was in the 90s, making some of these ships warp easily. This A-Wing was a Kmart exclusive, measuring in at 1 3/4 inches long. Sadly, none of the Hasbro Micro Machines come with any type of stands, but I do like this ship quite a bit with its great detail and clean paint apps. Riding off the success of Star Wars Rebels, Hasbro in 2016 made an A-Wing based off the version from the show for their Micro Machines line. Even though my ship is warped in the front, I quite like the design, coming in at 1 3/4 inches in length and features a great paint job and some respectable details. And the cool thing about this A-Wing is that it was taken from Ralph McQuarrie's original concept art. And that's awesome. You know, you're taking Star Wars past and bringing it into the future, and I'm happy it was generally well received. In 2016, Mattel also made a Rebels Phoenix Squadron A-Wing for its Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships collection. This is one of my favorite from the line, featuring some great line work on its hull, and I enjoy the paint scheme of tan and green. For the ship's length, it measures in at a little under 2 1/2 inches, and these ships also came with some awesome stands. I actually love the Phoenix stand with this ship. It just stands out and it looks awesome. Finally, in 2017, to go with the release of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, Mattel released the A-Wing from the film in its Hot Wheels Starship collection. This brand new design featured some brilliant details, and I like the paintwork on it. The blue came out looking very clean, and I hope one day they release it again in the maroon color scheme as well. For its length, it came in at 3 inches long, and also features a nice stand. Now, I have to admit, even though I love the original A-Wing, I am digging this design quite a bit. So that does it for all 14 A-Wings. So now let's get some size comparisons. First up is every A-Wing Micro Machine from 1994 to 2015. Up next, we have the Star Wars Titanium version A-Wing, followed by the X-Ray Fleet A-Wing, and the Micro Vehicles A-Wing Starfighter. Next, we have the tiniest miniatures. On the right, the X-Wing A-Wing. In the center, the Star Wars Battles version, and on the left, the A-Wing Squadron from Star Wars Armada. Here we have 2 Hot Wheels A-Wings mixed in with the 2 Titanium versions. Great looking ships. And here are those same Hot Wheels ships with the X-Ray Fleet and the Micro Vehicles mold, which are the same basically. And we're almost done. Here we have all the Galoob versions. The Micro Machines, the diecast version, and the beautiful Action Fleet ship. And also with the Action Fleet A-Wing, here we have the X-Ray Fleet version and the 2 Hot Wheels A-Wings. And for our final comparison, we have our Hasbro A-Wing, X-Wing A-Wing, Starship Battles A-Wing, and finally the original 1994 Galoob A-Wing. So that does it today for my first video of Miniature Memoirs, featuring the A-Wing. From 1994 to 2017, we looked at 24 years worth of A-Wing Interceptor miniatures. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I put a lot of time and money into it, and if you did like it, or you think I missed something, let me know in the comments below. I would definitely be open to making more of these types of videos if there is enough interest. For the A-Wings I did review, I will put a link in the description below for those who are interested. You could go check them out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.